Okay, wonderful. So let's get right to it then. Basically for my podcast and all. So basically, my name is Clay D'Souza. I go by Clay D. And the name of my podcast, I actually operate a few, but for the purpose for this interview, it's going to fall under Clay's Counsel and Queen's Court Conversation. So I'm running a dual podcast here where I'm running a series of interviews from wonderful folks like yourself for our CES edition and such. So we're supposed to be there in person last week, but we had some logistical challenges and we're not
Yeah,
able to be there. So I do thank you for both making the time again to speak with me, and so we can basically help showcase your products and services. Because we want to highlight those entrepreneurs out there who are basically or who are on the way up. So it's my pleasure in helping to facilitate that and provide any additional exposure. So this will be on YouTube. This will be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and
right.
such. I'll definitely make sure this is spread all throughout. That way it can help with your exposure and all and everything. So I'm going to get right to my line of questioning, Jacob. So if you
Yes.
could just tell the audience who you are. Just tell if you could just tell everybody your name and where you're from and what you're all about.
Yeah. So yeah, my name is Jacob. I'm the founder and the CEO of Cueva. So yeah, I would say, do you want me to introduce also like Cueva
Yes.
quickly?
And yep, yourself
Perfect.
and Cueva.
Okay, perfect. Do you want me I can start again.
Yeah.
Can
Yep.
do it again. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, so yeah, my name is Jacob Cibuto. I'm the founder and the CEO of Cueva. So Cueva is a smart pet tracker, really small, made to monitor pet health and behavior. So the goal is to basically track everything that your dog is doing in order to prevent the problem basically earlier. For example, ears infection, or the weight. So yeah.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, I appreciate that. And could you just tell the audience who you are, where do you come from and what brought you into this line of work?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm from Montreal originally. And basically a couple years ago when I adopted my dog Oscar, so a young golden doodle,
hmm
he had a lot of, a lot of health problems, so a lot of also behavior problem, especially in terms of separation anxiety. So we went to the vet, we spent, couple $1,000 just trying to know exactly what my dog have and how can I improve his health. Unfortunately, that was not really successful, we spent a lot of money, a lot of time on like this specific problem, and we never really understood like our dog health and how we can really improve his health. The hardest part was to track his health at home when we're not there, right? So of course we bought, tons of camera and stuff. I think like many dog owner did the same thing to see our dog, but that was really hard, to track. Is that really better than in the past? Is that worse? To really track basically the separation anxiety symptoms directly. So by there, I decided to check on the market, what is currently existing. So what can I use online basically to track my dog health at home? I discovered that there's no real solution on the market for the health. Everything was mainly for the GPS, So I said, okay, well, we're gonna build it. I'm a big dog lover, so I built my team and we decided to build the product. Yeah.
So thank you for answering that for me. Basically, if you could just walk us through further, what inspired the creation of Cueva and how has that benefited your personal experience and its influence towards its development?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I would say like all the development of Cueva has been the idea, and what inspired me was really my personal experience with my dog, basically. So as I mentioned, finding the health tracking, between the veteran consultation. Currently, it's really hard. There's no real solution on the market to track, or pet, yeah, between the vet consultation. So this is really what inspired me to build Cueva and the product that we built, like the Cueva Health Plus Behavior Monitoring. Um, and on the other side, how it can benefit my own usage with my dog. Basically, is now I'm able to track my dog health, and thanks to the product, when there's something wrong, I'm able to like be noticed, and I'm able to take action earlier before it's too late.
Gotcha. Appreciate that. Can you elaborate on how the Cueva Health and Behavior V1 collar uses AI to detect health anomalies in dogs?
Yeah. So I will use like a real use case. So the use case that I have is really, the ears infection. So basically, the way that it's working is, we made a lot of research on dogs. So we placed, the device on many, many dogs, and we collect tons of data on dogs, and like the behavior of the dog, how the dog is walking, how the dog, is basically how the dog is can be normal. So we're adding like on one side like how a dog is normal, and on the other side we also took like some data on like when a dog have a specific problem. So based on all like the AI stuff, and data, we're able to predict those patterns. So when there's something wrong with the dog, basically. So for the specific use case that I said, so for the ears infection, there's so many, portion that the device can track. For example, the device can track the smell. The device cannot also cannot see, is there like inflammation in the ears or not. So that's why in the app, basically, I don't know if we're gonna see, it's like a little bit blurry, but in the app we have like a questionnaire. So when we detect like a symptoms of a potential problem, like we're gonna ask a couple questions to the owner. So basically, owner gonna have a couple questions to answer, and it's gonna drive them through like the potential solution and what basically it can be. So we're not detecting the problem itself. We're like aiming to develop and to detect, I would say, symptoms of problem. We're not replacing the vet. So the goal is to always try to prevent like, a potential problem on dogs.
Appreciate that. Could you explain how does the 24/7 GPS tracking feature ensure pet safety and what sets it
Mhm.
apart from similar products?
Yeah, so basically, we do have the GPS for sure. I think there's so many GPS tracker out there, and they're really great at what they're doing. At Cueva, what we're really focusing on is really the health and the behavior side, the health and the behavior aspect, basically of the tracker. So in terms of the GPS, so we're using also the GPS, for to understand the environment that the dog is in, but I would say it's not our focus here.
Appreciate that. And could you explain the role of vet tech support feature and how it integrates with the collar's functionality?
Yeah, so in terms of like the functionality with the vet, so currently it's not like on live yet. But in the future, so what we're currently developing with them is the connection through vet clinic. So basically veterinarian gonna have access to their veterinarian remotely their yeah through their patient. Sorry. So they're gonna be able to remotely like monitor basically their customer with a tracker. So it's gonna basically save them some time, and also it's gonna optimize the vet process because vet currently they're not seeking for more customer, they're seeking for optimization in their current process because the problem is not the market. There's so many, problem with on dog. There's so many, lineup at the vet. So the problem is not having more customer. The problem for the vets itself is really to how we can optimize our process to see more customer in less time, basically.
Perfect. How do you envision Cueva transforming preventative pet care in the future?
Yeah, so in the future, the way that I'm seeing Cueva as like, the CEO, my goal is really to develop the health side of the health aspect of the product. And the goal is basically be able to do everything like between vet consultation at homes directly. So for example, when there's something wrong with your dog, there's infection, like you don't necessarily need to go to the vet like in spending time and money, right? So some prescription and some depending on the state and the country also, it could be. doable remotely for specific problems. I'm not talking about, deeper problem that need like a physical consultation, but my goal is basically to make like to make like the new pet care services, but everything online. And the difference between Cueva and like another like vet e-clinic or like telehealth app, the difference is we are focusing on the prevention. So the goal is really to prevent the problem before it's too late. And for the telehealth app out there, they're more on the reaction side. So when we know that our dog have a problem, we're going to see those e-clinic online to say, oh, my dog may have like ears infection, what I can do. But the goal at Cueva is really to prevent those problems. So this is the KPI that we're tracking.
Are there plans to expand beyond dogs to other pets or add new features like telemedicine?
Yeah. So the telemedicine, I would say, as I mentioned, this is like, the long-term goal for Cueva, but the goal is mainly on the prevention than the reaction. And in terms of, I would say, the other pets, for the future, we are trying, in the future to have more pets than only like having the dog. Currently, we're trying to be really good on dogs before, expanding to other kind of pets. But yeah, the goal is to expand to other kind of pets, and yeah.
Can you, in regards to customer experience, discuss your pre-order process and how you're ensuring customer satisfaction with shipping timelines and return policies of that nature?
Yeah, so we are already live. So pre-order as like the pre-order campaign has been made over the last year. So we're already shipped to the first customer. So later in 2024. And we finished the shipping to all our pre-order customer earlier this year, so early January. So now like all our pre-order has been shipped. And currently, the way that we're working is in terms of the feature, because some feature, it's continuous development for the product itself. So what we're doing, like currently, is we're doing different promotion, basically to always ensure that the customer will beneficiate from the value of the product, and then at the same time not overpay, so they won't like pay, for feature that are not existing. So for example, for currently we don't have the GPS, the live GPS yet. We have like the GPS, so every hour the device will send data, but we don't have the live GPS. It's going to be released, later this month or early February. So what we're currently doing is, we're giving like couple days for free, added on top of the subscription, basically, that people are paying monthly.
Perfect. I like the sound of that. Sounds like you have a good thing going so far.
Yeah.
Jacob, what feedback have you received, if at all, or if any, from beta users? And how has that shaped any of the product improvements that has taken place?
Yeah, so feedback is really, really great. We receive tons of feedback from our product. I would say there's, many different feedback, and also we're trying to understand all their use case, because sometimes there's feedback for a specific use case, and some people are gonna say the opposite thing, but for another use case. So I think that's where we're currently navigating in, and I think like a really great feedback that people love from the product is being able to use their own dog collar. When we started, the product over than like 3 years ago, we decided to do not a bulky, but a big, device embedded in the collar. And quickly after, releasing some visual online and to talk like to hundreds of dog owner, we quickly understood that people want to use their own color. They don't want to, use the one big color. They want to use their own design. So what we did from this feedback that we received, a couple of years ago, is we decided to build our own buckle. So basically, this own buckle can fit on every dog collar, and the device itself can be attached on every dog collar. And from the feedback that we received also recently, because on one side we have people who love the buckle and the fact that they want can use their own color, and on the other side there's some more active dog that they're scared to lose the device because this is only a buckle, right? Super strong buckle, but for active dog who's like moving a lot and doing you know big activities, I would say, like like dog owner are really scared to lose the device, which is their currently their assumption. They're assuming that they will lose the device. So currently from like those feedback, we're currently, exploring like how we're gonna release, a new color that's gonna basically have the vocal embedded in it. So it's gonna be really strong for, those active dogs. It's already basically in development. It's gonna be released in the next few months. So I think something really great that we're doing from feedback is since, we're really like close to our customer, we're sending like, email, maybe too many emails, but we're sending email, every month to get more feedback on how to improve the feature and everything. So from that, we're able to, iterate faster. So when like we see that customer don't really use a XYZ feature, we're able, to quickly understand what they're using and to double down on what they're really using to avoid over engineering, like, some feature that are not essential for the user.
Appreciate that. Regarding your business strategy, how do you plan to scale Cueva's operations globally, particularly in integrating with veterinary clinics in North America and
Mhm.
maybe Europe?
Yeah, currently we have like so one of our investor in Iraq basically they exited like one of the biggest vet software with one of the biggest veterinary group in the world based in Iraq. So we're currently planning, to integrate through their API with our API also. So which is gonna let us to connect to, I would say, couple thousand clinics across Europe and Canada.
Okay, and what challenges have you faced in entering the pet tech market, and how have you navigated and overcome them, basically?
Yeah, so the pet market is really interesting. I'm in the pet market. It's over, 7 years, and I think the biggest challenge in the pet market is the emotional side of the emotional aspect of the market. There's a lot of customer who like emotionally they're gonna buy a product, they don't really know why. So it's hard for a company, to understand basically why someone is purchasing the product because when you're selling, peace of mind or when you're selling, health tracking is super general. So understanding exactly what the user is, what's the expectation of the user, it's more hard. Then, I think it's the same thing for like, kid market. So, when you're selling, I don't know, clothes for kids or, baby stuff, people are just like they love their babies. So, they will buy a lot of toys, they will buy a lot of things. Same thing for pets. So I think that in the pet market is really to spot, what the user will really, really love and enjoy and use also because having a product it's one thing but using the product it's something else, right? And I think in our business use case, since we are a subscription-based company, making hardware sales is really great. We want people to buy the product, but we need to get the user, stayed on our platform for a long time. So making the sales, it's something, but yeah, we need to make people basically use the product after. So this is, the technical aspect was more, I won't say hard. It's just it's a challenge that we face in the past, understanding the real needs of the customer, uh, the specific needs. So to understand where, we need to work on, because when someone is like, yeah, I really want to track my dog health, we're like, okay, what do you want to track exactly? And people are just like, general health. So that was, yeah, the hardest part, I would say. But after a couple of years, you understand also how a customer can think and how I think as a customer myself, since I have dogs, so I can easily understand my own perspective.
And regarding future developments, are there any upcoming features or updates planned for the Cueva Collar that customers can look forward to?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, like, the live GPS, it's something that it's not our focus, GPS. I don't think we're the best tracker out there, and that's not how we're selling, the device. But we are, gonna update the device. So as I mentioned, by the end of the month or early next month, with the live GPS feature, which gonna also work super well. Just, where that's not what the feature that we're supporting the most. Also, in terms of other feature, what is really, really interesting with Cueva is, since it's a continuous development, every month we're updating the device and the app. So user that can buy the device now, we might be able to track, specific symptoms of a specific disease in 2 months, and they will benefit from that. So this is, the interesting part is since the hardware itself can detect a lot of things, after is how we, interpret like, all the data. So it's a long-term development, continuous development, and we're looking forward to develop that with our customer.
Now, how do you see AI evolving in pet care, and what role will Cueva play in that transformation?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think AI you know, play have a big play in in the pet care industry. Industry is like a whole industry. That's an industry with whole, whole practices, with whole knowledge. I think the AI will totally revolutionize the industry to more basically optimization. Pet care it's a luxury services for owner people, people want to save money. People want to have their dog really healthy, and the veterinarian on their side, like a vet clinic itself, want also to save money, from the vet because they have the veteran a veteran in a vet clinic is the biggest basically expenses that they have, right? So they need vet, so that's why. But they're looking to optimize their process. So as I mentioned earlier, they're looking to see more customer in this I'll say in this less period of time. So I think the AI will optimize many things, can also save time a lot for vet and for users, so everyone can benefit from this transformation.
Appreciate that. And thank you for answering all of my questions and providing a comprehensive discussion about Cueva's innovation, vision, and market strategy, Jacob. Now, if you could show us a demonstration of what Cueva is about, I would certainly love to see that this time.
Yeah, definitely. So just to start, so we're going to start with the product itself. So, this is the product. This is the box that where people are going to get the product. So when the product is shipped, basically there's a product here, but also there's the buckle, so the adapter that I said, like on the other side. I currently don't have the USB cable, but we also do have the USB cable integrated in the, in the packaging. So when the device is paired to the app, I can show you the app here. Um, yeah, so on that, we'll just remove the blur. Yeah, so on the app, basically, when the people are going to be able to see like the general health score of their dog. So, every time that we're detecting a new symptoms of problem that, we're improving the accuracy of like every detection that we're doing, the health score, basically, the accuracy of the health score is increased, basically. So the health score is out of 100. So it's easy for people to understand also what does it mean. So we have, some explanation here so people can understand, their health score, what does it mean, and everything. We have all the calorie expenditure here based on what the dog should spend. What we're taking in consideration for the calories, same thing for the health score. No, it's of course, the tracker itself, but we have so many different other inputs. So the age, the breed, I'll say, a lot of input are taken in consideration. Couple suggested activities. And on the health page, basically, currently people are able to see, the rest recap of their dog, here a couple information about what their dog did during the day, what categories basically of activity they did, what their dog actually did during the day. But the most interesting part is really here. So when we detect something wrong. So as we can see here, is like, okay, we detect that your dog is scratching more than usual, head shaking more than usual. We're gonna ask you a couple questions. As soon as you're going like through all those questions, we're going to arrive to the potential solution, basically. So the potential solution basically would be for the ears infection use case would be, to just clean your dog ears before the infection is taking place. So just, this small detection, the small symptoms detection gonna maybe save you $200 to $300 at the vet. And it's gonna also save your dog from an infection, which is I think the greatest thing from the detection. So this is one example from what we can detect, but in the future, as I mentioned, we're releasing new detection every month or, so yeah, basically it's really intuitive. It's really easy also for user to use the app. So that's what we love. Also have the multi-dog feature. So if people have like if someone have like three dogs, they can also have three dog color. And as I mentioned, we do have, here, so the GPS for feature of the dog. So this is for us, the basic GPS. And yeah,
I appreciate that. So I appreciate your time this afternoon, Jacob. Those are all the questions that I had. So, if folks wanted to take advantage of Cueva, how could they basically subscribe to what you have going on? How can they follow you and
Mhm.
follow more of what Cueva is up to at this time?
Yeah, so they can go on our website, so www.cuevapets.com. And on the website, you have access to all the information, and you can also purchase your Cueva right there.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Jacob. And that does it for this edition of our Queen's Court Conversation and Clay's Council CES edition. And we look forward to seeing y'all for our next one.
Thank you. Thank you for the